Is retirement something to be scared of? I don't know. I've got a couple of people asking me, pre-retirees, what to watch out for when you retire. Did you make any mistakes? What do you regret? And I feel a little anxiety there on their part. And they're asking me what I felt or what I would do over again. Boy, that was a long time ago. I'm not sure I have the answer. I'm going to give it a try. Part number one, I'm going to talk about the fears of retirement. And part number two of this video, I'm going to talk about some remedies, something to help you work through the fears of retirement. So let's take a walk and talk. I'm going to turn around and head up this road here to our community pond, and I hope you'll join me. Okay, what are people really scared of or concerned about when they get ready to transition into retirement? And one thing is losing structure. You know, you have no boss, no office, no task, no job to get done, and you kind of lose your structure, your working hours and all of that stuff. And 1 minute you're doing that, and the next minute you're home sitting on the couch. So that's what they're concerned about. I'm going to give some examples of things you can do to overcome that in part two. Next thing is losing identity. And, you know, that's important, losing your identity. We have degrees, you know, we have certifications, we have job titles. I was thinking yesterday, all the job titles I've had, I've counted like 15 or 16. I won't bore you with all the details, but, you know, accountant and property manager and certifications like certified internal auditor and master property manager, business owner, webmaster, all those things. And when you retire, you lose that. I remember I had my real estate broker's license for 40 years. And I remember about 5 years ago, sending that back in to the state real estate commission and turning that in. And I just took a minute or two and just reminisced about that. You know, wow, I worked so hard for that and used it so many years, and here I am sending it back. So, but I think you get over things like that pretty soon. When you're working, you build your resume up. You know, it's all about, you know, who you are. It becomes who you are in the business world. And, you know, that's, you know that by heart. You can roll that off in a 1 minute, you know, elevator speech, who you are, you know, what you've done, what jobs you've had, that sort of thing. The minute you retire, that doesn't matter. And it's kind of hard to transition through that because you still want to ask people, oh, what do you do? You know, what do you do? And people your age may ask you the same thing, what you do. And that was so important before, right? When you worked, that was, you know, the way to really get a take on somebody. What do you do? Once you retire, that becomes, I'm not even going to say less important. Sooner or later, it's not important at all. Not at all. People in our retirement community in our 70s, we never ask anybody at the pickleball court, you know, what do you do? Who were you used to be? You know, who do you used to be? You know, it's not important anymore. We're out there to play and have fun. And we're not going to, I'd rather not know what people did, actually. Occasionally you may get somebody, after they really get to know you, kind of ask you that question, but normally that's not even asked anymore in retirement. What do you do? Let me switch hands here. Okay, losing income. Well, that's a very significant change in retirement. You lose your income, and that affects your budget, when you get paid, how you pay your bills. People are concerned they will give out of money. I don't know how to address that. I mean, I sold a business, and so I was not as concerned about giving out of money to begin with. I didn't know how to manage the money. I was a real estate investor, and all of a sudden I got some money wired to my account, and I had to invest it. And I was not really a stock market investor. So I did a separate video about that, and everybody's different. I will say this, many people will count on their Social Security check, and you can live on a Social Security check. Many YouTubers do that, and every month they post their expenses and how they did, and I've been amazed how close they came to living on YouTube. I'm sorry, not on YouTube income, but on Social Security. It can be done. And not to say they don't have any savings, but they're just going to try to live on Social Security. And I think you adjust your lifestyle. So I'm not sure I'm the best one to give advice about that, but it is a common fear. I would say this, many people say that after a while, and that could vary from person to person, they're not really concerned about it anymore. They know, what their expenses are going to be. They know how to adjust if they need to adjust, and that's not on top of their list anymore. And you do spend time on finances. Even if you have some money, you have to manage the money and invest the money, and you still have to do your cash flow and pay your bills, which is kind of a little more difficult because you don't have that paycheck coming in. But you do have your Social Security. If you're in the U.S., and of course Canada and Australia, you have different pension schemes that you can rely on monthly income, annuities, and that sort of thing around the world. I think that's pretty common. But don't worry too much about it. If you've saved a little bit, that's more than most people. And with your pension or Social Security, I think you'll be fine. I think most people report that. Some people say they lose relevance. I don't even know what that is. I know, when you work, you provide a service or a skill and that sort of thing, and you feel needed. But you can still have that same feeling in retirement. There's all kind of things you're going to be doing in retirement that will be helping other people or serving as a volunteer or things like that that give you purpose. So I don't think that's a real big one, losing relevance. And some people wonder, all that experience you had in working, is that wasted? And no, it's not. You make better decisions. You are who you are because of what you've done your whole life, your work experience included. So that made you into the person you are today. You don't lose that. In fact, you get more wisdom and more your experience. You keep the experience. You lose the job. How about that? Keep the experience and lose the job. Retire today. Not knowing or dealing with uncertainty. I think this is really, when you boil it down, I think most people get a little anxious. They live their whole work life saving for retirement. Then when retirement gets here, they get a little, anxious about it. And it's certainly completely normal. It's no way to work through that except working through it. There's no roadmap. It's a lot to do with loss of structure, and I'm going to deal with that in part 2. This is still part 1. We're still defining the problems, but part 2 will talk to that. And I think most people are not afraid of retirement. They're just afraid of change, and rightfully so. I understand completely. Okay, here's the good part. Part 2 coming up, how to deal with retirement fears. Let's walk over by the geese over there. They're on the far side there. Maybe that blue heron's out there and he'll fly across the like he did yesterday. Well, as far as dealing with retirement fears, I just say one thing to realize: there's no perfect retirement. You've been sold a bill of goods that retirement is supposed to be just so stress-free and happy, and you see the couples riding the bicycles, throwing their hands in the air, and the balloons going up, and oh, my retirement is absolutely wonderful. And it is, but it's not stress-free. It's just regular life, carries on. So don't think there's one way to have a good retirement. Everybody is different. And actually, retirement is a journey. And it should be, because your whole life was a journey, right? I mean, look at your work life. I mean, that was all over the place, right? I mean, that was a journey. You worked at different jobs probably and different skills. You may change careers. We talked about that before. You may end up in a different place than you thought you were going to be. And, you know, I would say keep that in mind. It's just not one perfect retirement. Okay, the next thing you can do to relieve some of those retirement fears about what to do and that sort of thing, you control your time. You control your time. So if you're worried about what to do, remember, you're in charge. You've got your time. In fact, this is the one thing that most people say they love about retirement. You can do what you want to do on your schedule. If you want to get a late start, you can get a late start. If you want to stay up late, you can do that. You can do anything you want to do, time-wise. And another thing to keep in mind regarding time is there's no rush. You know, there's no rush. You don't need to feel like you need to figure this retirement thing out like the first week or anything like that. I mean, take your time. And I would say when you retire, the first week or two or three or four or a month or two, take it easy. Don't try to figure anything out. Just enjoy life. As they say, you know, stop and smell the roses. I'm going to walk down here. The next thing up, avoid locking in decisions early. So you're retired, you think, oh my gosh, I need to move to the country. I need to move. I always wanted to move to Florida. I think I'll move to Florida. And you got to be careful. I mean, you may know, you know, I'm not telling you what to do. If you want to move to Florida, move to Florida. I mean, some people have done it in 1 week and never came back. It may work out for you. But if you are, you know, a little anxious about things, probably better to put things off as far as any major decisions that lock you in. For the example of moving to Florida, yeah, go down there and visit and maybe go ahead and rent for a month or two in Florida and see how you like it. You may just decide you thought you really liked going to the beach all the time, but you know, now that sand and sun is not what you thought it was when you were 25 years old. So that's one thing. Buying, if you're moving and getting a different retirement house, no matter where it is, think about this, maybe renting rather than buying to begin with, and see how you like things. Maybe you're thinking about moving to a 55 plus community like I did. You could rent here first. It's a little difficult to find a house for rent, but you can. Rent for a year, what the heck? And that may pay a couple of dividends. You'll know if you like the community, number one. And also, you may find a much better price. I mean, if you live here and you know, you see the houses all the time, and one comes up, you get to know the market, you can find a better price. Not only a price, you may think that you want a very tiny, small house, and you rent one for a year, and you think, man, I thought I was going to, they said, everybody told me to downsize, right? So I downsized, but this thing is tiny. I need a little more space. Or maybe it's just you and you get a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And you may want to have the relatives may want to come over, and visit you and stay. The grandkids may want to come and stay. And you may need a little bit larger house. So that would be good if you rented first and discover what you really need before you jump in and get something you don't need. And that happens quite a bit. Next up, keep your perspective. It's just retirement. You're not taking a job overseas. You're not, you're not, this is a fun part of life, retirement. It should be fun. And so keep that perspective. You worked hard to get here and just have fun. And, the saying, I'll do the things I want to do in retirement. And that's what you need to do. Another thing you can do if you're getting ready to retire, you can read books. I read a bunch of books. You're not going to find your answer in the book, but it gives you good examples of how to retire. Watch videos. Oh my gosh, so many early retirement videos and newly retired people sharing their journey. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. And you can watch their videos and learn quite a bit. David in Progress, one of the channels I watch, and he's in that early retirement bridge years between, before you get Medicare and Social Security and that sort of thing. And he's maneuvering that and sharing his experience. The last video, I think, was about insurance. I mean, that's a very helpful information to have. Learning about retirement, and especially once you start retiring, make it part of the journey. Make it fun. When you want to check things out, you may say, I want to go live here. Go for a long weekend. Even better, what I did was I blogged about it. And it kind of helped me document my retirement journey. And I see all these YouTubers that are recently retired doing the exact same thing I did 20 years ago. I think that helps them just as much as they help you. The next thing is take small steps. Start small, don't rush, take your time. Before you know it, you'll be feeling much better about this retirement thing, and you start smiling and enjoying retirement, which is the whole point. I've already talked about rent before buying, working part-time, consulting. You could consult or volunteer. When you retire and you say, well, I'd like to volunteer, which is great. I've done that, 3 or 4 times at least for 2 years. One of the last ones I did, I volunteered and I didn't really talk about how long. And after 2 years, I said, well, I'm ready to move on. And they were like, oh, you're leaving? We thought you would stay with us. If I did it again, I'd nail that down, basically. I'd nail that down and get a good understanding of what we're talking about before I took on the assignment. And even if you're maybe babysitting or anything, kind of make sure you know what you're getting into before you do it. The next thing is build routines. This is very helpful. Build routines. You talk about losing structure. This is how you get some structure and do it on your terms. And so many retirement YouTubers have a video called A Day in the Life of Retirement. And they go through their day and their routines and their rhythms and tell you what they do. And I think I did one of those also. I believe I did. And what that does, it takes all that decision making away. For example, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I go walking with the walking group here in our community, my neighbors. Tuesday and Saturday, I go to the gym. You have eating routines, you have sleeping routines, different routines you can get into, and that really helps out. That way you're not sitting thinking what to do. Expect positive, unforeseen options. And just be on the lookout for that, because it is a journey, and you're going to meet people and become friends with them that you never expected. You can make new friends, and you're going to have new opportunities I can tell you all about it from my experience. It was a wonderful experience, but you're going to develop your own experience. It won't be the same as mine. Just know that you'll have plenty of opportunities out there in retirement doing things you never thought you would. For example, I started blogging, I told you about, and I researched senior center. I was going to blog about it, so I went down to the local senior center, ended up being on their activities committee, ended up forming the Park Place Pacers walking group. An overall factor is be active. You may notice my channel name is Robert's Active Retirement. Of all the people I know here, there's 1,700 people here in our retirement community. The ones that are happy are the ones that are active. The ones that are not happy are the ones that stay home and are not active. I mean, that tells you something, doesn't it? I mean, if you want to be happy, be active in retirement. And, active can be a lot of things, socially, exercise-wise, health-wise. Try things out. That is true. Try it out for a while. Don't go and say, "Oh, I didn't like that. I won't do that again." Go for a month. Go try something. Go for a month. Try it out. You may not like it. My wife, when I asked her to go play bocce, learn how to play bocce, she said, "Oh, I wouldn't be any good at that." Well, as it turns out, she did go, and she's the best bocce player I know of. I know a lot of bocce players. She's the best player. So you can't ever decide you don't like something until you try it. I'll say that. And that includes senior centers. You will adjust faster than you think. Getting through this transition or retirement, it will be pretty fast, and pretty soon you will be thoroughly enjoying retirement, and you don't know why in the world you were worried about the things you were worried about. You're no longer worried about them, and you will find this. This is a very profound statement, but life in retirement is the normal way. That's the natural way. You feel more like yourself in retirement than you did when you worked. What would you do differently? What went wrong? What regrets do you have? If you could, down in the comments, help me answer those questions, I would appreciate it. So this is another one of my 2026 walk and talks. I'm just out here talking, but I did give it some thought, and hopefully you'll help me think further about it and make some comments down below. So until next time, this is Robert, and see you next time.